And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Oh, you rat bastard.
What?
You rat bastard.
What?
How dare you?
What?
How dare you?
Well, I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
As we scroll over to Clint's big note. Yeah.
Oh, is it the
see?
Dunkin' Donuts
You see?
drink?
Do you see what an asshole he is, BZ?
He's enjoying his drink.
I know.
Now, hang on a second. Did I or did I not call ahead and say...
You didn't say what the
Would you
options
like
were
anything?
there, son.
I said anything.
You didn't say what options were.
Think big.
You know, he could push his camera down.
As a matter of fact, I even said...
What? What did you say?
I even said, do you have coffee?
You did say that.
And you said... And hang on. And you said...
Listen, you hang on.
You said...
No, I don't like this argument right now. And if you do... The reality is this. Fucker.
Hang on, really
But you meant it in a nice way. You meant it in a loving way.
In theory, BZ, I don't think he did. I think this is... Look at him. Look at this ridiculousness. This is just... Oh, this is stupid on so many levels. That's
Would
the
you
problem.
like some?
No.
I've got my drink right here.
No.
Really?
I mean, I do, but I'm not going to give you the satisfaction.
Here. I'm going to walk this over to you.
No. No.
Like you can resist.
Listen, Pally.
Allie.
You have a freaking large Boston over there.
I know, but it wasn't the same. Listen, if I thought Dunkin' Donuts was an option, why are you doing this right now? Why would you do this to me?
I didn't know there were any
Call, folks. This is the Sackheads Radio Show. It is the 2nd of August.
Can't tell we're arguing right off the bat
over
about Dunkin' Donuts and coffee. Yeah, this is what we do, Sean.
Man.
And ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, this is exactly how this show started.
Yeah, this is almost...
Yeah, that's right. From what you've said, arguing over coffee.
Yeah.
It's the arguing over coffee show.
Yeah, hang on. I'm thirsty.
Why does this happen to me, BZ?
Hang on. Oh,
You're just lucky.
it's so good when it hits your lips.
So good when it hits your lips. Oh, thank you for joining us this evening. Hey, jump in the chat room. I'm sure one of us is on there at shrmedia.com. I believe BZ is in the chat room.
I am.
So you can get there. Clint hasn't opened up his computer yet.
I have it. It's open.
Well, we got
right
Jersey
here.
Joe in chat.
Of
hey,
course.
Dan is in chat. We have
Yes.
guest. Now, this is important. We have guest 17 in chat, who is 16 iterations better than anybody else.
Of
We also have
course.
Mike Pasqua in chat. We have
Hey,
Melanie.
Mike. Well,
We got BMP, the Big Mouth Patriot.
my good friend, the BMP.
in
Absolutely.
Chat.
Just got a gorgeous new truck, by the way.
And Jersey Joe. What do you get?
I think it's a Ford.
truck.
I think it's a
Just told
King
you, it's
Ranch,
a
Ford
truck.
F-150 King Ranch, if I'm not mistaken.
very
It might be
nice.
Diamond Edition.
Wow.
Or Platinum. I think
Why are
it's
you
Platinum.
bragging right now?
Wow.
He's bragging.
Why you're bragging on his behalf?
I can't even help it. I can't even help it. I know him.
Those
I'm
are
thirsty.
big
Hang on.
buck trucks, because I looked at one at CarMax.
No. You're thinking of the Bighorn, which is Dodge. Totally different. A big buck
No.
truck.
This wasn't a Dodge. This
Oh,
was,
you meant money.
Yeah.
I thought you meant buck like Dodge Ram.
No.
Like
big
antlers.
bucks. Big buck trucks.
Oh, as in if you kill a big buck, you can put it
Did
on
you
the
get him?
truck.
Yeah, you had antlers like this. Anyone remember that one? Oh, let's go around the room and play catch up with everyone, can't we? First, we're going to start out with the coffee swelling whore that he is.
Oh my God!
Oh, that means
it's
he's
empty.
The CSW.
The nose that knows.
The nose that
He can
knows.
smell bullshit a mile away because he's got a honker the size of Kentucky.
This is true.
Sackhead Clint.
And this is what led me to you so many years ago, my friend.
And now there's the result. All
Hang
of
on.
this
Let me
right
can I
here.
just set this up somewhere, right like this, right here. I'm good. Well,
Okay,
BC,
well,
how have you? Look,
I'm fairly good.
Not a lot since last week has happened. Nothing at all in the news, actually. So that's good. So we have nothing to
That's
talk about
another
tonight.
Damn zero news day.
Which is something else. But I still get feedback from our interviews that we did down at Freedom Fest. which is awesome.
Somewhere I saw a reproduction, I think Mr. Sharp, who was running for Libertarian governor.
Yeah.
I saw something retweeted by him
That-
about that particular interview.
It was an amazing interview.
So it's still going on.
Well, why isn't it going on?
Well, there's no reason it shouldn't.
No, it should. That's what I'm saying. It shouldn't go on at all.
Come on, you guys.
What are you doing right now? I'm
You're opposite of my camera angles.
I'm out of coffee.
BZ was talking. I clicked on BZ, and then you started flapping your gums.
That's
You're not
because-
working
no,
with me.
I was flapping my gums, and you came in and started deciding to like, well, I'm going to push this button. I mean,
What I do every day, isn't it?
even I know how to do
I
that.
kind of feel left out because you haven't killed my mic yet.
I'm sorry.
Smart ass. In a second, he will.
You can see him, but you can't hear him. See?
Yeah, see, there we go.
All right, I feel better now.
Good for you. I'm proud of you.
It's like hanging up on yourself. Talking to somebody in a talk show, and the guy says, "Okay, hang up on yourself," and you do. What the hell?
It happens, though. Hey, have you ever called yourself?
Wait, are we talking about the game?
No.
Or are we
different.
okay, because I've done that.
Had it happen a couple weeks ago. I walking by a mirror, right?
Right.
Yeah. Had it happen a couple of weeks ago where I couldn't find my cell phone.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, let me just grab my cell phone and call myself.
Yeah.
Just let that sink in for a minute.
Did it work?
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Bullet did.
I made the ringtone myself. Yeah, I was an asshole.
Okay, I got it. So I got a story.
Okay.
For you. I found because we're in the opening jackassery part. So I actually have one of those old school like hardline telephones.
Yes.
Right, the kind you pick up. They had like red and green and tan. And I had a tan when I was carrying it around the office because obviously those don't work anymore with anything, right? And I had the receiver to my ear, and I was walking around the office carrying the old school telephone with my right hand, talking into this dead receiver, and people were looking at me like, what the hell?
Was the cord stuffed down your shirt?
No, the cord wasn't. I actually have a better story about that I'll tell you off the air.
I think I know what it is.
Yeah. So then I walk up to a newer guy in the office, and I say, hey, boss wants to talk to you, and I hand him the receiver. No shit, he stares at me for about 30 seconds.
That's actually funny.
Not knowing whether to shit or wind his watch.
So he shit on his watch?
So he shit on his watch.
Right.
And so this is the best part. He takes the receiver and he goes, hello?
Oh, no.
Hello?
He did not do
Hang
that.
on. I set the phone down on the desk and I walk out of the room. And he said hello about 6 times.
Why do you do this?
Before he looks so confusing. And then like 3 other guys that are in the room just start laughing.
The thing I have to ask is, was there a cord? Was there a cord?
No.
attached? Oh,
No.
what the hell?
It was the cord to the receiver.
Yeah, but BZ, you have to understand though, right? If the kid was anything under 25,
Yes.
nothing's ever had a
I
cord.
think he was
okay.
about 25.
So you look at that, and to him it doesn't make sense, right? Of course it's
Right.
cordless. Why wouldn't it not be cordless?
Right, because what phone do you know has a cord
All right,
attached to it?
Yeah, that dates me. Agreed.
Thank you for that heartwarming story about how
You're
we're
welcome.
old
Yeah,
and we suck a little bit.
So here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to build a dime slot into the back. Hear me out on this.
First of all, you being a Portuguese talking about building shit makes me laugh right off the bat. But
then
go
that's
It's going to
ahead.
be a matchbook
Then you have to
box.
find somebody that's carrying around coins anymore.
it's
Nobody
Who carries money?
Coins.
Who carries money?
I do.
What normal person carries money?
That hurts. that cuts me deep. I'm not going to lie right now.
Is that what a frog says?
Yes.
Thank you.
BZ,
Sir?
we've wasted 11 minutes on why Clint's just an asshole to everybody he works with. How are you, sir?
That's not true. I'm great to you guys.
I said work.
He did have an interesting story, though.
No, it was very interesting.
I like Clint stories. Do you have another Clint story?
No, don't turn it back over to him. I was giving you the floor.
Hang on a second. So I do. So listen, I have these glasses.
See, he does.
Look, I have these glasses.
Oh, God.
Wait, no, you know what? I'm not even going to tell this story because I'm just going to bring them in.
I think that would be the best for
I'm going
next
to bring
week.
them in, yes, for the camera.
Oh, you are unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Did you note the color coordination today?
Yeah, you too.
That's
Matching.
right.
Matching.
No, we called each other.
I know you do.
We called each other.
I know you guys are like little girls.
Hang on, I gotta plug the chive.
You guys are like pretty little girls.
Why is my shirt blue?
So listen.
Well, it's the same reason why your hair looks gray on this image too, right? It's not that lush black that it is in real life. When you're on camera, it just looks gray. It's the strangest thing.
Right, and it's the same reason my nose looks small.
Right
now.
Right. It hasn't knocked the camera off once, which is unreasonable.
So we have a zoom lens on right now.
We do.
For those of you that aren't
the camera's actually 4 buildings away.
Yeah, the
Clint's camera.
The studio is actually in the next office. The camera is, and it's actually zoomed. So
of course.
That way, because I kept knocking. And as a matter of fact, the top of the computer that I work with actually has to be below.
Oh, this is
We actually had to
ridiculous.
replace, if you remember, the screen on this laptop because I kept bumping it.
BZ, how's everyone in chat room? I'm not even gonna. I can't even entertain this right now.
Hey, smartass! Somebody said, "Let's talk to Clint again." It's not my fault.
Who's the old man?
Yes, it's
he
not my
forgot
fault.
what was going on.
Forgot.
There are people that are actually watching this, okay? And Melanie Collette says, "Oh my God, now I actually see what Sackhead Clint looks like."
Oh, have you
and
never
he's
watched it before?
We're sorry about
Apparently,
that.
she's never.
I'd like to
watched it.
apologize to all of
I'm
our
gonna
listeners who are on
apologize for
YouTube right
my-
now.
for my looks. Yeah,
That's horrible.
yeah, it is quite horrible.
Like
I'm much better looking on camera.
he
so
was
that
hit in
should
the
be very
face with a
scary.
sack full of doorknobs.
I have.
Hence Sackhead.
That's true. Dave Milner is here. The
the
unpleasant
unpleasant
blind-
blind guy himself in the
Who
chat room
isn't-
at SHRmedia.
Who isn't blind? We've been through
Unpleasant.
this.
Oh no, he can't see.
Oh,
anything.
he's blind as
He's
hell.
blind. Yeah.
But he's very pleasant about it.
About being blind.
Right.
He's a super pleasant blind guy.
He is.
That's the funniest part is he just picked up that nickname. It just wasn't any good.
Dave, please don't sue us because we have no means for YouTube for you to actually see or experience this. We're working on being ADA compliant with our YouTube channel.
How?
So listen,
Hey, can I
so here's
lodge
what
a
we're
formal
gonna do. We're gonna
protest? I want to lodge a formal protest.
Oh, what?
May I do so?
What the?
Yes.
Is
You
going
guys are the
on
owners.
tonight?
Hang on,
What is going on tonight?
Hang on, we have to vote. May BZ launch a formal protest.
Ah, shit. Yeah.
I
Well,
vote yes.
just because I want to know what the hell this
Yeah.
is.
Okay, go.
Because you guys are the owners.
I changed my vote, so
And,
fuck off.
and I'm
so
just
Sean,
a piece
what-
of crap. But I want to protest. I can't get the damn YouTube to work. I can't get the damn YouTube to take phone calls. And then I was talking to Jeff Dunn today, and Jeff says he doesn't go to YouTube either because he can't get people.
Well,
to
the
do
problem is
phone
at
calls.
your age, it's an advanced technology.
Oh, I'm trying to speak to the phone like Clint had.
Right. That's pretty much what it's down to.
What I want to know is
I
why
actually-
BZ brought the doctor bag with the duct tape, the rope, and the gloves.
Do you have the German car
No,
this week?
You forgot the most important part because listen, number one, you got to.
All right, 8:15 bullshit's over. Topic number
Bullshit's
one.
over. Topic number one. So,
You got to have a Cadillac. You got to have a big trunk,
whoa,
and it's
look who-
got to be lined with plastic.
But it also has to be like a 72 DeVille.
Impala. 72 DeVille.
Impala.
Oh,
Impala.
But it can't have the same color panels, right? Like 2 panels have to be brown, and the rest of the car has to be like orange.
Yeah, all that gray.
Yes, yes,
like
the way
primer
that-
gray.
Okay, so I'm thinking like primer gray roof,
Yes.
brown right front quarter panel,
Free candy on the side. Right. Right.
And you have to drop it off in an airport.
and bullhorns, and long.
An airport has to be nearby. Am I right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, what was it? A couple months ago, the body that showed up on the runway in Detroit. You remember that story?
What's wrong with that?
Were you here for that, PC?
What? Yeah.
Like 3-4 months ago,
Are you trying to tell
a
me
dead
that's
body
abnormal?
randomly showed up in Detroit on the runway at an airport, and it was a homicide victim. It wasn't like it fell out of a plane. I'm like, only in Detroit can a dead body show up in the middle of an active runway and have been killed elsewhere, and nobody saw a goddamn thing.
No, hang on a second. How do you know it was killed elsewhere? How do you know it was not a drive-by?
They
on
said it was
airport grounds? Right? So hang on.
Drive-by?
So an airplane is getting ready to take
This
off.
might be getting stupid.
No, it's not at all.
No,
So
I-
the pilot, being from Detroit,
Right.
opens the window, back, as he takes off. I see it.
But here's the very important
My
thing.
favorite
If you
theory
do
so
that, you
far.
have to use the over-the-wing window because the body hits the wing and because it slides to the rear. That is the way you make sure the body doesn't get sucked up in the front of the jet engine.
He's got a good point. You have to be rear of the front intakes.
You have to do it in the window.
No,
that's
no, no.
right
So
to
it's
the
gonna
wing.
be-
It was clearly a maintenance worker.
But
It was literally a drive-by.
But
as
wouldn't
he was
that now
flying by.
suggest that it's the flight attendant?
Yes.
Okay, good.
That makes it the Detroit International Weekend at Bernie's, right?
Well, he worked for 3 days before anyone realized he was dead. So
Okay, topics.
okay, go for it.
So last night I had the distinct pleasure of seeing the movie Dunkirk. Has anybody here seen it?
I have, yes.
Okay.
Heard it was magical,
It-
and I mean that, like, amazingly.
So this movie, if
Insane.
you haven't seen it, this movie is absolutely amazing. It really is. So they used real Spitfires.
Yes.
They found that there's like a few dozen serviceable Spitfires.
And I want to tell
Still-
you, holy crap, can you tell the difference between something that's real and something that's a piece of crap CG?
Go ahead. He's adding to your story. You do it to everybody else, Flappy.
That's what I was thinking.
Flappy McGum Flapper.
So,
No, I'm just kidding, BZ. I'm fucking with you.
I know.
Of course you are.
No, the timer. I saw the timer. It went to 30 seconds, and that meant
He
it
actually
went
had a
back to him.
stopwatch on his watch. You heard it beep.
Yeah.
No, I know that. I know that.
No, it's my
That's
phone
how this
timing it right here on my
works.
phone.
It actually
folks.
came up geriatric fucking with. I don't even know.
No, it said GFW on the back of the phone.
Go ahead.
So real Spitfires were used when they're filming this, and the pilots that actually airworthy, original engine, everything still worked. And the Messerschmitts they used, the 109s, were Spanish versions of the 109. So starting in 1942, Messerschmitt licensed the I forget the name of the Spanish manufacturer who stand whatever the fuck it is, I don't know, some Spanish group. They licensed them to make the Messerschmitt 109. It was the design, and so they couldn't find the German MEs
Right.
for the film, so there were still some surviving Spanish Messerschmitts, the Messerschmitt designs. So they used those. So the aircraft were real era aircraft.
And you can tell.
There was a Piper that had IMAX cameras. I actually saw it in the IMAX theater.
Oh, I missed that. Would love to have seen that.
Do it.
He's just bragging.
So no. I'm actually there's a point to this story. I promise.
Okay.
So the IMAX cameras were on the aircraft, and all the aerial dogfighting scenes. That Piper was actually in there. They flew the dogfight sequence with the aircraft
Piper inserted into it?
and then they flew the dogfighting sequence with the Piper inserted in place of the RAF aircraft, so that you had those shots. Absolutely amazing. But here's why I bring this movie up. And in my opinion, this is one of the best World War II movies made. I would put it on par with Saving Private Ryan.
Oh yeah.
The
I
parts,
do.
Good, huh?
the parts
Yeah.
where
I'm not even questioning. I
where
mean,
some of the
honestly-
soldiers are drowning
Yeah.
is some of the most captivating, and it kept me on the edge of my seat. It made me nervous.
And most of the film, there was not a lot of dialogue. Like, most of the film was scenes and scenery and music. And here's the thing: it took me a little bit in the movie to pick up kind of the background noise. I was like, man, there's a background noise, and it's kind of adding to my anxiety. It's a clock ticking.
No.
Yes.
So
I did not notice that.
One of the
Yes.
reasons, obviously, besides the story, one of the reasons that I did want to see it is everything that I've read about how they created the movie. It was designed so you felt like you were in the action. It wasn't necessarily a story about the action. It was you living through it. And there was a World War II soldier in Canada who had seen it, who said it was so realistic that he felt, I forget what his exact quote was, but essentially, like, he felt he was back in the war, and he said he could all of a sudden remember, like, faces of buddies who died in the war and all this. Like, he said it was so realistic and so dialed in that it absolutely brought him back to the battle itself.
Yes. So there's something I want to address, and here's why I bring it up and what a phenomenal movie it was. There are those on the left that are bashing the movie
For the most ridiculous of reasons.
because of its maleness.
There need to be more
So-
ethnics.
Oh no, I was going to go with the man card first.
Oh, okay.
and then you bring up the
that was,
ethnics
that was
part.
in there, too.
So Mahira Bonner.
So you mean all the guys that fought in World War II, they're pissed that they weren't women there in World War II?
Right.
Yes. Now there were a couple nurses on the hospital ship.
Sure there
that
were.
they showed.
Well,
so
yeah.
but yeah.
They know that females were just allowed into combat, what, 6 years ago?
So Mahira
So-
Bonner from Marie Claire writes in her review, quote, Dunkirk felt like an excuse for men to celebrate maleness, which apparently they don't get to do enough. So hang on a second.
Wait a minute!
Hang on a second. Men are celebrating the fact that men died and got slaughtered and were killed on a beach by Germans who were cornering them and they tried to escape with their lives. How the fuck is that celebrating maleness? Because I got a different takeaway. I got a takeaway of, holy shit, this was a scary situation in a war zone, and it was a miracle that
Are you
this
trying to
evacuation
sell a
happened.
pro-feminism story in a ridiculous website, though? Yes or no, sir?
No.
Okay,
No.
that's why.
No.
That's the point.
But how the hell can you even, can somebody, I mean, look, first of all.
But look at all the revisionists we deal with on the left every single
no,
day.
well,
They want things to be different in the past.
Here's my point, right? Oh, they wanted women there, so women should have gone through that?
Yes, they want that.
They want women to die.
Yes.
Yes. So they hate women.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Clearly the left hates women, and that's what we've taken from this.
You know,
So
here's what they want. They want female actors to play males in the role in Dunkirk. So it's not historically accurate, but it's politically correct.
Wait a minute. Isn't that cultural appropriation?
Well, yeah, but that's not important, BZ, when you're left, because as long as people fucking feel good, that's all that counts, right?
So look here, but this is my point. We're getting more and more removed. We're how many generations removed now from World War II? So my grandfather,
yes,
right, and
my grandfather's, his dad.
So we have that would be my children's great grandfather.
Yes, sir.
Right, and if my oldest has a kid, it would be their great great grandfather. So we're several generations.
Wait for that to happen, but go ahead.
Fuck yourself. And no, I'm not showing you her picture again. So they're so far removed that they no longer have the respect and appreciation for what that generation went through.
I agree
right?
wholeheartedly.
Or for what the men and even the women on the home front, but what the men who fought the battles, what they sacrificed, what they went through, what that was. How many of them can watch a movie and appreciate like Schindler's List?
Yes.
If you made Schindler's List today, would it have the same impact?
No.
I think it would have an impact.
Not the same.
But it wouldn't have the same impact because we wouldn't know that most of the people going to the movies today don't know. And I'm sorry, Sean, I don't want to get to you.
No, that's okay.
But they wouldn't have a connection with somebody who'd been there and heard the stories. I remember my grandfather talking to me about Pearl Harbor and Guadalcanal.
Yeah.
And his brother, my great uncle, talking about being in B-17s over occupied Europe.
Right.
But as you're talking about a great grandparent or a great great grandparent, you don't have that connection anymore.
But even look at modern history, right? Look at 9/11.
Yes.
Look at what they've done to that already.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you got to realize, right, wrong, or indifferent, World War II, anything prior to that, you start having these people who are slowly changing at a local level. But now with the advent of the internet and a nationalized Department of Education, you have people who are trying to tell you that 9/11 was just a bunch of guys having a bad day, right? They're getting away from the actual impact. You know, it's like I've seen shirts that says, you know, what about the good things that Hitler did? You know what I mean? There are people out there who said, well, you know.
Hey, look, he gave us the Volkswagen Bug, and that's still going strong.
Right.
So, I mean, there's something good that came out of Nazi Germany.
Sure,
right?
and he kept the distributors of
That's
Zyklon
ridiculous.
B going.
Right, but look at the people who support Che Guevara. Look at Mao. We've talked about this time and again, right? How history has
but why-
forgotten the reality.
So here's the funny thing on the left, and we've talked about this a little bit, right? About the left-right argument. Oftentimes, you're not talking true left-right. You're talking up and down because it's both big government.
And
right?
sometimes in and out.
You're just arguing. We never talk about that.
Right, go ahead.
But you're looking at both want big government. John McCain. It's just how you go about doing that. Right?
Bigger the government.
Whether we're talking about a communist, whether we're talking about communist or fascism.
Right.
They're both big government.
Right.
And what is the progressive left?
Huge government.
Communism. You look at
I agree.
look at by any means necessary.
Yes.
Look at Antifa.
Yes.
Those are organizations with its roots in communism.
Steeped in communism. Steeped.
So of course they're going to hate
Like
fascists.
a communist tea bag from China.
Right. Whether they're big government, fascist, Republican, or whether they're small government Republican, they're going to hate them all. But that's why they're going to point and call them fascists, because it's an up-down argument. It's not a left-right argument.
Well, you're moving goalposts. We talk about that all the time, right?
No, you're tipping the scale of measurement. You're not necessarily even moving
While you're moving goalposts.
You're not moving the freaking goalpost.
No,
John.
you tip it.
It's a
moves.
backboard.
You don't remember the game NFL football, the electric rattly game that was.
No, you know what I do remember? I remember the Namco game.
He doesn't remember that.
No, I do. I don't remember the Namco
Namco
game
game, yes,
with the
before that.
blinking light.
That's right.
Which you
I
move
do
up and
remember
down,
that.
right? Okay.
But no,
Up down movement, Sean. Up down, not the goalpost. And then you kick the field goal in a little blinking light.
I'm still back at buzzing football games.
well, it takes you a little while to catch up at your age. I said it takes a while for you to catch up.
What?
Listen, we've seen this time and again. We've seen the left. We see how they, quote unquote, misremember, or if I should.
No, it's purposeful distortion.
That's what I was saying. They're rewriting the roots of history in order to include people who very much had their own job.
Did you see they're rewriting Roots now, too? Is that going to be about a white guy?
Yeah, why?
I'm just checking.
So like you said,
You're looking at me
You're a white guy.
and thinking that you just made an incredibly funny joke. That shit's not funny, all right?
I know, right?
That's
Come on.
why, because it's not about a white guy?
Come on,
Okay, hang on. They make it about a Portuguese guy.
Well,
See, now you laugh, right?
Now
you laugh.
that's some funny shit.
right. I mean, you can actually make that really stupid, and everything's okay with it at the end of the day.
Screen doors on submarines.
Flooding the Fizzy's factory.
The USS
what?
Kaboosh.
What?
Dive.
Say
Shit, go back up. Somebody close the screens.
God damn it, Clint.
God damn it. Oh, man. Yeah, no. Wait, here's the other part of it that actually makes me laugh hysterically is all these people that want women to be involved in that particular battle, even though they weren't on the offensive portion of things, make the story of what a lot of women were doing in the war, especially the nurses on the hospital
let's
ships,
be
saving
honest.
lives, putting our guys back together, getting them home to their families. It's not that they didn't play a role, they just played a different role.
But
Yes.
it was huge. Who the fuck kept the United States going
Together.
when all the men were
Right.
across the pond or over in the Pacific
And I'm
Theater?
strictly talking in
Who
battle.
built all
women.
the tanks?
Right.
Who built all the planes?
Right.
Who built all the ships?
Men. Wait,
Many
wrong
men
answer.
and a ton of women.
Yes. A ton of women.
A ton of women.
And even, we even talk
Maybe
about
2 metric tons of
Yeah.
women.
And a lot of people don't know that a lot of women, even after the planes were built, they were the ones shuttling the planes.
They were flying them.
That's
Yeah,
true.
all over
They
the
were
place.
the northern
Yes,
route.
they were.
Yes, they were. So,
Look, my grandmother was a radio operator at Bellows Field.
right. So make the story. It would be an amazingly interesting story.
Clint,
Clint.
didn't you say
Such
that
an asshole.
Spielberg and Hanks are coming out with 2 new
The 8th Air
series? One about the 8th Air Force and
Yes.
one about the Navy.
Yes.
Didn't you say that?
I don't know about the Navy. I don't know if I said that.
It's the one that has all the boats. That's the Navy. Now you know
Oh,
about it.
wait, the what?
The one with all the boats.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean ships?
Right.
Yeah, nice call.
I thought you didn't know.
About what?
You're a liar. You're a goddamn liar, and I won't have it on my show. Hey, we're up against the break.
It's my show, too.
No,
I just do what you guys tell me. I'm not. I just do what you tell me.
we're up against a break already. We come back. I think we're going right to Mueller. Are we going right to Mueller,
We're
Clint?
going to Mueller. BZ's got Mueller.
BZ's got Mueller right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live.
Not
Listen,
literally. He
Charlie.
doesn't literally have Mueller, so I don't know. Like, I don't want people to get the
got
wrong
him by the
idea
stones.
about.
Be right back.
Is that like scabies? So why? Why were you yelling at Clint?
Yeah, why were you yelling at me?
Because he doesn't pay
Why was he
attention.
yelling at you?
I don't know.
Why
I still
was he
don't even
yelling
get
at you?
it.
Welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show.
Live on the SHR Media Network. I'll mute the fuck out of you guys. Not the weak. All right, smart asses. Hey, big nose. Just sit over there and look. What?
I got duct tape.
That's not even duct tape. That's how I know you're Portuguese.
Tape.
It's friggin' painter's tape, okay?
Yeah.
Wait, why would you know that?
Because I paint.
Oh, I thought you said penis tape. It doesn't matter.
Painter's tape.
Okay, that's
Why
good.
would you tape your? Never mind.
Oh, I'm going to throw it right over to BZ from Mueller. Just make it easy. Let's just start it fresh. Go for it, BZ.
Hey, what does it look like in Mueller's office?
Okay, first of all, I'm still on penis tape. Like, just so you know, I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh, go ahead.
I got pictures in my mind.
Why?
I don't know. That's how my mind works.
Maybe you need
Let's just go to Mueller. This is not going to, we won't recover.
Bleach?
We will not recover.
bleach bit.
What was the last?
Some things seen can frequently not be unseen.
Yes, and that would be one of them. BZ, Mueller, please, dear God, save us. Please. Just forge on. Don't feed into it. Forge on.
If you ever want...
Hold on. This is what happens when he doesn't get the joke out. Hold on. This is what's ridiculous. Is look at him right now.
Look at the look on his face.
I had something to say.
He can't help himself. He can't help himself.
Oh my God.
Are you gonna give us the? Is he gonna give us the bladed hand next?
So for as brown as he is in the summertime, there's a lot of red coming through tonight. Oh, that is amazing. Oh,
wish I
God.
could share
BZ,
this.
Mueller, go.
That's some good.
No,
clean-
back. We're back. We're back to Mueller.
Fun. In Mueller's office, why does it when you walk?
I can't even look at him. This is so friggin' ridiculous. Act like you've been there before, son.
I'm sorry.
Do you need to take a walk?
Product idea.
It's a good thing that
BZ.
there's a white.
Hold on, BZ. We're gonna have to stop.
A white background behind him because you can see that's what shows
man.
up. That's why he's so red.
BZ, we're gonna have to stop. Clint.
I'm tearing up.
my.
What?
Yeah, I know you need to get it out of your system.
No, I don't, because it's hilarious to me. But if it falls flat, then it's not going to be so good.
You have a penis tape joke going.
It's not penis. So okay, so that could be a brilliant product idea, right? Because I figured you could like tape it up. I don't know. But then I thought about.
We'll be good in basketball.
Okay, so do you remember that hairspray? It's like
Thank you.
spray. Right? You remember like that spray,
Yeah.
like that? Oh, look, you're not bald anymore.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
Could you imagine if you had that for your taint? Like, for
Wow, come on!
It's like liquid. It's like liquid chia pet. Okay.
Right, exactly. It's like, hey, maybe I want a Merkin, but I can't afford a Merkin. I can spray paint it. I don't know. Like, this is...
And Dr. Strangelove, he was the president.
He was the president.
Merkin
Yeah.
Muffley.
Yes.
Oh, you better now?
No, because the visuals, like, in my mind for these products.
I'm going to give you a break.
It
FHR,
can't
please do.
leave.
I'm going to give you a break.
Yeah, please do.
BZ, please start with Mueller. We're already 7 minutes into the segment,
Mueller.
and we went down to Merkin and taint jokes. So
You said taint paint. That's a great product name! Right there!
That's the name of
Thank you!
That's the
This
name
is
of-
why we're a team,
That's the
John!
name of a
I
group.
knew it would go there!
That's the name of a garage band in Berkeley. Right?
And
And now tonight,
this segment brought to you by Tink Tink here on the SHR Media Network, Sackhead's radio show. I'm Sackhead Clint. I use this product myself. Tink Paint. Get it now.
let me tell you about taint paint.
and it's applicable north and south.
I don't know where
See,
my
this is
head
where I
ended
go,
up.
folks. Now you know why I was cracking myself up. Oh, fuck.
I lost my pen somewhere in all of that. My headphones came off. It was a friggin' disaster. Such a disaster. Oy vey.
No, vey.
Are you ready now?
Yes.
Whew.
I don't believe it when I
Hold
say
on,
it.
let's just do this and start it all over again.
No,
Wait a
don't
second.
start all
No.
over again, but save... okay.
All right. We're going to get serious now.
Okay. Brought to you by Taint Paint.
Right over to BZ to hear more about Mueller. Is he using taint paint? Sorry, go ahead.
It's a new endorsement.
Oh yeah, I'm the only asshole here.
Hello.
Luckily, we have taint paint.
Hello. I'm Robert Mueller, and I use taint paint.
We may have to do a fake commercial.
Yeah, no, this is happening.
That might have to happen for
Oh, my
Mueller.
God.
Go ahead. Oh, God, this just won't end.
What if you opened the door to Mueller's office
Yes.
and you walked inside
Yes.
and you saw that it was basically a replication of the DNC? Because that's what you've
I'd say
got
there'd be a conflict.
in the office. By the way, just as of yesterday, another Democrat donor got hired by Mueller.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He's
So you mean the independent counsel, who's supposed to be totally independent, is essentially
Has got
a DNC fanboy, which we all knew off the record.
A herd of Democrat donors and attorneys working for him in the office. And that is absolutely shocking.
Would that be
Is it
collusion?
not? But here's the funny thing.
Do we get an independent counsel to investigate the independent counsel?
In the process of attempting to be, I don't know, throw out compromise and bipartisan,
That's what the left does.
someone
Throw it right out.
thought that it would be a good idea to hire Robert Mueller, who was, he was on the short list to be FBI director,
Yes, he was.
new FBI director, and he's a great friend of Jim Comey, a really good friend
Yep.
of Jim Comey, who we know is leftist-oriented and can't make a decision to save his arse. And then,
Well, no, he can make a decision.
Oh,
It's
yes,
just whatever
but
he's
it's always-
told to do.
yeah,
But
it's
no, he
always-
said not to save his arse.
And
He
it's
got himself
always-
in hot water by
But save
Bob
other
Leak
people's
one.
asses, right? Like Hillary and
Right.
Loretta Lynch, right? Good.
well, there's this new guy that just came in, named Greg Andres, and they just found out that he's a white-collar defense attorney for the New York firm of Davis Polk, and they're investigating Russian interference and much more. But when you search federal election records, you find out that this guy Andres donated at least $3,700 to Democrat candidates, including $2,700 to New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand in March of 2017. 7 other Democrat attorneys are working for Mueller in that office, who donated over $60,000 specifically to Democrat campaigns. Not a Republican or even an independent amongst any of them at all. And this is bipartisan, of course. And it's a compromise, of course.
All right, well, let's start with a couple of things, right? We all know who Mueller was going into this. When he was selected, everybody knew who Mueller was. It wasn't like all of a sudden it came out that Mueller is a giant DNC fanboy, right?
It kind of did.
Really? It shocked you?
No, it didn't shock me. Okay. But the public, like, not too many people were.
How he was sold in public versus what
Right.
anyone who did their math was
Yes.
is two totally
And
different
not Common
stories.
Core Math, who actually did.
Right, because that would have equaled chicken.
Right.
Right. The reality of the situation is, those of us who paying attention, you know Mueller's history, you know that he's a giant leftist.
Well, it gets even better because this dude, Andre, he's 50 years old, okay, and he's got a wife who's a federal judge nominated by Barack Hussein Obama.
BHO.
Couldn't get any
Well, you have to
better
repay
than
favors,
that,
right?
could it?
You have to repay some favors, don't you?
Gee.
I mean, that's how the left works. We've seen that time and again with the left. We've seen it with the DNC.
That's how both sides work.
I'm not saying it's just the right, but right now we're talking about the left. I mean, look at the stories that are coming out today about Hoomer and Hillary and how they're trading off favors all the time for donations. You're on camera.
You know,
I know.
you know,
I was telling you to steal third.
favors.
Like I'd ever steal on the right side of the... Are you out of your mind?
Look,
You know I can't take
you're
second to
fast
third.
enough.
No, first to second I could take it. Second to third, no. Go ahead, BZ.
Mueller is a registered Republican. Did you know that?
Yes.
Just like John McCain
Yes.
is a registered Republican.
Not a conservative, a Republican. And there's been a growing distance over the last 10 years.
And Lindsey Graham is a registered
Pinhead.
Republican.
Jack.
Asshole. Dipshit.
Cork soaker. If he worked in a winery, he would be a cork soaker.
In Italy.
He'd be a cork soaker.
He'd be a cork soaker. And I'll tell you right now, that guy can soak a cork.
I don't want to know how you know that.
I saw the video.
You saw the pictures.
No,
yeah.
it's the internet, isn't it? It's the internet.
It's the internet.
Listen, here's the problem with Mueller is he never should have been put in. He's not truly independent. I don't care about bipartisan bullshit. I'd almost rather at that point that we get an independent investigator from an allied country who has zero political ties whatsoever.
From an ally. I nominate Little Kim.
Yes! Yes.
Real
You want to be Riddle Kim? Hello. You want to see him come over and be the independent investigator
I
in all
do.
of this? That would be outstanding. Do you know how many people would be shot with AT-AT guns for it?
Oh, yeah.
If you do that, though, and bring Kim Jong-un over here, isn't that the slippery slope?
I wish I had that picture still that I sent you. You finally got it!
I told you last week. I told you in Freedom Fest I got it.
Here's, listen, you will never truly find somebody in this country to be an independent, right? Because once you're on that level where you brought in to investigate an incident like Mueller is, you already have to have enough notoriety or something on that level to be considered for that position. So you've already been gotten to by one side or the other.
So here's the mic drop moment. Here's the mic. Are you ready for the mic drop moment?
Shit.
Here you go. So General Kelly, former General Kelly, needs to come out and say, we have found a new independent counsel to investigate all this matter. It's Vladimir Putin. And then just walk off stage.
But so here's the funniest thing is it goes back to the Mueller selection, right? Why was Mueller chosen when everybody who is anybody knows about his political ties?
Me? I know.
Go ahead.
I'm raising my hand.
I know.
Old man in the corner, go.
Okay, thanks. Can I have old men for 500, please?
Hey, I don't care how much you pay for him, BZ, and what you offer. It's up to you, but you don't need to bring that here to the studio.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Yes, because they have no balls.
See,
I was going to say because they want the Trump administration undermined so that he could be impeached.
Well, now,
perhaps
depends on who you're talking about. Yes,
perhaps
that's a factor.
Perhaps removed from office, and then you have Mike Pence, who's a more establishment.
Or, as we've all talked about before, the whole Russian thing is a giant nothing burger, right? So now you have this guy who's a hard leftist, essentially, a DNC soaker, who comes in and he keeps expanding his scope and looks stupider and dumber as time goes on. And at the end of the day, you have nothing that comes out of it. Wait. I can almost get away with it. You have nothing that comes out of it except an immaculate media distraction.
Oh.
That might happen. I can't say that won't happen, right?
It's happened before.
But you have a giant media distraction when they're all focused on this Mueller guy for so long, while all the things that the Trump administration's been doing quietly in a good way, right? Rolling back a lot of changes. Did you know the reciprocity bill is going to the Judiciary Committee in September? It's a huge bill for a lot of people in this country. It's sliding in really quietly. Why? Everyone's worried about Mueller. We've seen Trump use the media against the left and itself time and he's a genius at it. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong?
No.
Okay.
Who the hell was that?
BZ, who else do you have under the desk?
What the heck? It's a police academy moment.
Thank God there's no camera down there.
So, if you're Trump and you're the Republicans and you know that there's nothing for you to worry about, why wouldn't you get a guy like Mueller? Why wouldn't you make him the news cycle when you're trying to get real shit done and you don't feel like listening to it on the left?
Because
I'm just saying, it's an idea.
Here's why. Because
BZ was next. Go ahead, BZ.
he's been fucking talking the whole time.
He's next.
Oh, it's his
Wait
segment.
a minute.
I
Whose
apologize.
topic was it?
It's your segment.
Who got assigned
Hey,
the
you
topic?
can't yell at me. I corrected
I
myself.
didn't assign the topic. I just work here, okay?
Well,
Not very well.
Under my shameless contract.
Yes.
And not very well, I should point out.
It's pretty bad,
Thank you for
actually.
doing
which
that.
is why I was actually supposed to take over because you weren't doing that.
But go ahead.
Yeah.
I will let you go.
Okay. I'd like to point out the obvious.
Yes, sir.
Hey, everything leaks. Everyone leaks.
You can take a shot for that.
New York Times, Washington Post. If there was anything in Mueller's investigation, that shit would already have been
All over the place.
played over
All
every
over the place.
newspaper. So if you don't go here and you're not getting results, what do you do with the investigation? You open it up.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're apparently not getting what they want.
But there are people in Congress now who are even saying that he is exceeding the scope.
Yes,
and
and
we
he
have
is.
been talking about this for a while
There are
now.
other people in Congress saying
Heard it
also
here on SHR.
that if you get rid of Mueller, they're going to get rid of Trump.
How?
Good point.
How?
But there are more people.
Make that threat all you want, but how are you
Yeah.
going to do it? Unless you have an actual impeachable offense, what are you going to do?
You can't.
Right.
You can't.
And they could try to create whatever hell they want, but the reality of the situation is there's nothing. They have yet to find anything on this guy, and it's been, what, coming up on a year in November or
Yeah.
January. Okay, well, no, but since he was elected, and they started this all-in, balls to the wall, trying to find a way to create this. And listen, we've talked about this before. If the guy screws up, I do want to know about it, and I want to hold him accountable.
Yes.
But this witch hunt that has been going on nonstop since the election and before the election, they've got nothing.
Look, Congressman Trent Franks is calling for Mueller to be thrown off this investigation.
Yes, he said he must resign to maintain the integrity of the investigation into alleged Russian ties.
Yeah, look, he does. And we've talked about why, and we've talked about all the ties and why Mueller should be recused and recuse himself. But look, I think that if he was uncovering evidence,
Yes.
that's one thing. If he was staying within the scope, that's one thing. Look, if Trump did something criminal, then by all means investigate it
And show us.
Bring the articles of impeachment and have the trial.
Show us.
Look, I'm all for that, but you have to stay within the scope of your investigation. And this is one of the things that I think Representative Franks was saying is that he's exceeded the scope of his investigative authority as well. Mm-hmm. And look, collusion is not a crime.
Nope.
Collusion
Had to do with
empty word. It's just a word.
It had to do with business, and when the antitrust statutes were written and came into law, that's what collusion meant to represent. And since then, the term collusion has been morphed and misrepresented. But there is nothing illegal about collusion.
Well, they've sold you the collusion is criminality.
But
That's
it's
what's been
not.
sold. No, I agree wholeheartedly.
So even if the Trump administration colluded,
There-
it's not criminal.
There is no crime
Right.
called collusion. There
But
is
you know
no
what?
statute.
But you know how you know there's
indicating-
no collusion out there right now, and I don't think
Because
there
we
will
haven't
be.
heard anything.
We haven't heard
There's
shit.
been so many leaks,
Yes.
and we haven't heard
And
any
they've
of it.
sold. They have collusion in the news right now, where I think 70% of this country probably thinks it's illegal.
Yes.
So they've built it up to the point that if they had something, it would be coming out right now. And the longer we go into it, the less the American people are going to be bullshit because there is
That's-
nothing. Time just heals all wounds.
My point exactly.
Yes.
Collusion has gone to. I was talking to Jeff Dunitz this morning on his show, and I was saying collusion has gotten to the point now where being called a racist is a nothing.
Right.
It doesn't have any meaning anymore.
It's the same
You're a
thing.
racist. Okay, and you're an ist. You're an obe.
Well, it's like when Clint calls me fat.
You're a colluder.
Right.
It means nothing.
Or
It
big
means
nose.
nothing.
Right. It doesn't hurt me anymore. His words don't hurt me because you've killed it. You've overused it. Listen, my dainty little hands have been called sausages for years by this guy. But they don't feel like sausages.
Yes, they do.
Shh.
Have you ever held your own hand?
No, have
They're
you?
like Vienna sausages.
Yeah.
We talked about this, right?
They're not bad.
Remember your
After-
countdown? You used to do the countdown. You
After
don't do
being
the countdown
soaked in a
anymore.
tin, don't they come out of a tin that kind of goes like this, and you look at them with the Vienna sausage, you say, "My, those things are plump and tasty."
Clint wanted to do a
Is
segment at
Clint
one
trying
point.
to say that he wants to suck your fingers? Is that
Probably.
what he's saying?
Again? Well, I'm not ashamed.
Okay.
Look at those things.
I said
Dude, I had really good buffalo sauce on it.
I said it.
And I
Yeah.
fell asleep. That was my fault. That was my fault.
Look.
I fell asleep.
It was your fault, and I couldn't help myself.
Let's go around the room. Clint, what do you think is going to happen with Mueller? What do you think the outcome is actually going to be? Not what you want to see, but what do you think it's going to go?
I don't think he's going to be removed. I think that he'll come up with some bullshit findings because he has to find something. So somebody somewhere sent an email and it was inappropriate based upon this reading of something,
Right.
But nothing criminal.
Okay.
And I think the Dems are going to try and make a big deal out of that for midterm elections. I think they're going to try and hit him on that for the presidential, and I think that's pretty much all they're going to be able to use it for, some kind of political fodder, because I don't think anything is there on behalf of Trump. I think maybe he'll lose an aide or somebody talk to somebody somewhere, but I don't think
Maybe.
maybe. I don't think Trump is going to be touched out of this. I think Mueller is going to lose a lot of credibility out of this and kind of go away after the fact. But I also think that Trump, as he's getting this agenda to go, is going to gain some speed. Look, I really think at this point Trump's going to be a two-term president. I really do, based upon the economy. And look, people vote the economy. You can talk terror, you can talk all these different things, but people are gonna vote economy.
When you get a 22,000 Dow today,
It's crazy.
that's called a clue.
That's absolutely insane.
No one has ever seen those numbers before, and people are going to say, yeah, it's a bubble. But businesses are a lot more positive now and more inclined to hire people now
And to stay in the
than-
U.S.
than ever before, and sometimes to bring shit back.
Look, and there was also I don't remember the site, but there was something that came out that said that if immigration reduces under some of these immigration plans that Obama has and enforcement now and so forth, that the theory is that the lower skilled immigrants that are here illegally, that are coming here illegally, are going to stop or subside or at least reduce in numbers, which leaves the higher skilled immigrants coming in are going to be kind of taking that space. It was on the 5, and the comment, I think it was on the 5, and the commentary was, good, then do something positive in your country if you're going to be staying there instead of coming over here. But I think that'll open up, in addition to businesses wanting to hire more, people are going to have to, in terms of some of the labor that's used, that the criminal aliens are here to take over. Those jobs are going to have to be filled somewhere.
Right.
Right? Hey, you know what? That's a brilliant program. Work for welfare. If you're on welfare, how's about you go work the fields?
We've talked about this time and again, right?
Right.
If you're on any sort of
go out in
social
the fields.
programs, 4 days
Yeah.
a week, you should be doing some sort of community service.
Yeah.
And that 5th day, work on job building.
Look, give a tax benefit to the farmers or the agricultural people and stuff. Give them a tax benefit.
Not just a field.
Are you attempting to segue into the RAISE Act? Is this where you're trying to go?
After the break, we will get to that.
Okay, all right.
But
I'll keep my track
but not
shut.
just fields, right? So you got to start looking.
No, I just use that as an obvious example.
What about
right?
like a nonprofit, or a good nonprofit or volunteer organization? The Sacramento Zoo, even. I don't care what it is, right? A community-owned, the parks. You go down to the parks department 4 days a week, and you go around and clean up and beautify parks.
Yeah.
Look, you give back, but that's how it used to be when you were on social services.
Look, Sacramento now, ridiculous, right?
Let's not even talk about it.
The number of homeless that are in Sacramento
Almost
because-
outnumbers the number of non.
because of the services that are available. And Daryl Steinberg, douchebag extraordinaire, I think is his title now. If I read the business card
Right, it's Daryl Steinberg, DE.
Well,
So, DBE.
DBE, right? It's
Right.
DBE, and there's also
I thought
something in there.
douchebag was one word.
Well,
Oh, yeah, is there a hyphen in there?
He's so big that there's actually
Right.
you have
It's
to capitalize the D, the B,
and
and
the-
the E.
and the
Okay,
E,
all right.
yeah.
I thought maybe it wasn't hyphenated. Okay, good point.
So, could you imagine though if you're like, hey, we give you cooling stations, we give you shelters, we feed you.
School lunch programs.
So
type thing.
you know what?
Cell phones.
You have to
No, no cell phones.
Easy.
We're not giving that to you.
Somebody put a bell around him.
You get a 3-minute timeout.
It's like belling the cat.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Cut government, cut the parks programs, and hey, go and
Think about how much money cities, municipalities could save if you have these people who are coming in to do that stuff that they're. Most cities now are smaller, medium to smaller cities are now contracting out those services to vendors to do.
there was one guy who cleaned up this one particular park in Sacramento. He didn't even work there. He did, and you know who I'm talking about. He did more work than the employee than the services people who were there. He would literally go and like pick up branches and throw it in dumpsters and like dead squirrel. He literally was walking around the park one day with a dead squirrel in one hand and like a tree branch.
But he's helping,
he legitimately
for the right reasons.
He was helping. He was a little bit, but he didn't like to stay idle. Yeah,
the unions complained then. I'm sure, did they not?
Oh, I'm sure.
Actually,
and that's the problem you run into, though, right? So instead of having
the public employees. He did their work. They didn't say a thing.
Yeah, they just sat down and drank coffee.
They loved him.
But you start having people who are receiving services. If you're forcing them to do real back-breaking work as a way to receive these services when they're physically able, watch how quickly they get into education training and go find a real job. Watch how quickly that happens, because now, all of a sudden, they might as well get paid well instead of a very small government check.
I have a union job to tell you. A story when we get back.
I was going to say, we got about 30 seconds.
No, when we come back, we're talking about something else.
I know. But this is prototypical, this is quintessential union shit. Oh, I can't wait.
Well, we'll do the Raise Act and the union story. Those two can tie together.
Wait.
What?
We have North Korea.
Oh, hello. All right, we'll go right to North Korea.
No, we'll go with some stuff. We'll do North Korea at the bottom of the hour.
Yeah, because it's just better to make fun of him as we go out, right? I mean, that's just more enjoyable for me.
Do it.
We'll be right back on the Seconds Radio Show. I love how we plan a whole show about making fun of Kim Jong-un.
That's true.
I know. We'll be back on that and more right here on the Seconds Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network. And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Right here from Studio 1 at the SHR World Headquarters in beautiful downtown Sacramento.
Did you notice this time, the opening, I did not mock you.
Where's Nose? I notice there's a lot more room in this place right now.
Yeah.
And there's one giant nose missing.
I know, that's true.
Did he?
I think he had to go to the electric winkle chamber.
Again?
He? Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Well, he's got a...
Oh, no, you know what it was? It's 9 o'clock in the second. This is his monthly Throw Rocket Hooker meeting. They do via phones.
Oh, okay.
Just to make sure. He's on the ruling committee now.
He had to take the call.
So he's going to take the call
that
for
makes
that.
sense. I get it.
Oh, well, hey, throwing rocks at hookers is a big-time game. It's starting to come up.
And you have to have a certain innate accuracy.
But you also have to have good ruling, right? And he's on the rules committee. So it's funny
Well,
how...
then that's a matter of control.
It's funny how he doesn't like big government until he's in charge.
Right. And that's my point. Thank you very much. Is he a control freak?
He is.
That answers it.
Especially in that game. Everywhere else he's pretty good. That game he's out of his mind.
Rocks at hookers?
Yeah, that's
and
a big
he wants to control like where they go.
Yeah.
The appropriations committee?
Right.
The rules committee?
And it used to be that they were free-range hookers, right? And now he's changed that ruling. He wants them confined to certain areas. It's like hunting cows at this point.
Fencing.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Imagine this. That's a concept I am not ready to
the game has lost its luster in the future, in the modern future. They've done so much. There's instant replay now. There's instant replay.
Are you serious? That's coming?
Yeah, he's pushing for it.
Do they have flags?
Remember the one he bagged?
Do they have flags?
Remember the one he and the other guy bagged a couple years ago, and he keeps telling the story how they both threw the rock, they both hit it?
Oh, yeah.
Right, but they had a fight over who actually...
Yeah.
Right.
Who
and they couldn't
scored
identify
that?
whose rock because he didn't mark the casing. It doesn't matter. But now it's instant replay. That's his push.
Okay. Like that'd have to be like body cams, right?
I just hate to see it.
Those are
I hate to see it
expensive,
come to
and
this.
that's a lot of server space.
I hate to see it come to this.
For rocks thrown at prostitutes. That's a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
But again, with him, I get it. It's all about power.
Hooker
and
Rock will never be the same again.
And money.
Hooker Rock will never be the same again.
Money, power, and control.
Speaking of which, you have a union story.
Folks.
Nice segue. I just did 6 minutes on rock and hookers just to do that segue for you, so you're welcome.
Yeah, segue. Topic, meet brick. Hello, thump. That was a nice transition. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was the range master for my department.
Yes.
Hello, welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. In any event, as range master, I decided one day that the range house, the range building, looked like crap.
Right.
So I had a staff of 6 people. And I said, hey, we have some extra paint. Why don't we paint the range building? Because no one has painted it for years, and it's this ugly, crap, rotten pink salmon.
You just want to make it look nice.
color. I just wanted to make it nice. So one particular day, all 7 of us got together with a bunch of paint. I went out and bought the paint, got some rollers and whatnot. And on a day that we weren't doing much, we painted the entire exterior of the range building. And it was fine.
The union came.
It was fine until 2 weeks later, some of the union painters came over to the range building because they wanted to fix, some of the plumbers came over to the range building to fix a toilet. And they left and they said, hey, the range didn't used to be this color. I painted it a nice blue color. It was really nice blue. And they said, and I said, yeah, we painted it. Oh, they went rushing over to the painters union. The painters union called my captain. The captain, then the painters union, I shouldn't say this. Some people called the sheriff, who then called back my captain, my lieutenant, and then back to the fat roly-poly sergeant who got the phone call.
All because
the painters union said, you took their job away from them. But wait, it gets better than that. Do you know what I had to do?
Have them come out and repaint it the same color?
No.
Because that would have made sense to me.
No. I had, and my staff had to repaint it back to this ugly pink color. Then I put in a requisition to have it repainted to the original color. That took another 4 months. They came back after I repainted my paint job, and then on their time, they repainted it the same blue color that I had.
I can't imagine why counties and cities go bankrupt. It's mind-boggling to me. It's like my mind's in a bottle. It's ridiculous.
Can you believe
yes, I can believe
You
it.
better believe it
I
because
absolutely
it's fact.
believe
It's true.
it. That's the ridiculous part.
That's what happens when you try to do something nice
That story should have made its way.
for free.
That story should have made its way out at election time for that sheriff.
It cost them nothing. As a matter of fact, it cost me about $125.
Yeah, but now you look at total cost of that job by the time it was done.
And I'm the bastard for that.
Well, you are.
Well, it's
fucktard
not
for
just
that.
for that, but
Yeah, it's not just for that, BZ. I mean, you are a bastard. Don't get me wrong.
but it's not just.
But
for
it's
that.
not just that. Not this time. Not this time. Clint,
This is a visual.
we understood you took a phone call for the Hooker Rule, rock throwing at Hooker Rules Committee,
Yes.
and that went well.
Yeah. Look.
Has instant replay been approved?
No.
You pushed for that, though.
He wanted it.
Look. I'm the Godfather.
I understand that. We've already said that you were one of the founders, which is why you're in the
Yes.
Rules Committee, and
Look,
how
there's-
big government's okay in a Rules Committee like that because you're in charge.
I thought he was called the Odd Father.
No. There's a
That's
couple.
just what we call them.
There's a couple games that I actually.
There's a couple jokes there that I won't even touch. Go ahead.
There's a couple games that I actually sit on the committee for. One is Call It,
Yes.
which is a game.
A board game that's going to come out. We have to make that into a board
No,
game.
it's not a board game. Oh, if we could do it a board game,
Yes,
that would
we
be
could
awesome.
do it
Or like a
board game.
life card game.
Yes, but go on.
And the other is stone throwing at hookers.
Right, that's a big one.
Which, for those of you that may have not be with us for the origination of that, I was in Fresno, California, for work, and I was teaching a class.
Okay.
And I stayed in the seedy hotel. I know, hard to say. It was actually it was like a Radisson or something. Like, it wasn't a Radisson, but it was something like that, like a big name hotel that you think would be like decent.
That has just turned to shite.
But there were like hookers literally all in front. And I called in that night doing the show, and Sean asked me what I was doing, and I was literally watching like squad cars and hookers, and they were like parading out in front of this thing like all night, literally from the room window. And I wanted to start throwing rocks at them. And so like different
And a
areas-
game was born.
and a game was born, like on the air. It was great. And since then, that's been one of our, like, we get comments on
I'm gonna make a
I've
suggestion.
actually had people email me.
I'm going to make a suggestion, but I want the royalties, okay?
Okay.
I want the
No,
royalties.
not okay. Not okay. What are you doing okay?
Dude, he's making a suggestion.
It's a suggestion.
At his age, he won't even remember this
And he
thing.
said he wants the royal K. No, that is not the suggestion, BC.
No.
I hope you take that back.
Why would that even make
Why
it
would that
into
even
the-
be a suggestion?
That's a weird one.
Yeah, what? Seriously, what are we doing? What
I
are we-
want royalties, all right? You need to make that a video game.
An app on
Like
your
a
phone.
flash game on your phone.
On your phone.
See?
We'll give you a percentage.
Thank you.
That could be the first like SHR app
No,
game
hang on. We'll
for
give
our website.
SHR!
We'll gi-
Throw rocks at hookers!
We'll give you a percentage. A is 1.
Yes, what? 62 billion sales. Here's $8, BZ. Thanks for your help. That was awesome.
Fuck no, we gotta make
Yeah.
it free just because it's hilarious. Why make anybody pay for that?
Free. You can have you could have in-app purchases because that's what you do with all the big games now, right? You could get
Purchase rocks.
right. You could purchase rocks.
And you can upgrade your hooker.
You can upgrade your hooker or your throwing device.
And you can charge for accessories.
Your
If
tree
you want-
stand.
If you want your hooker to have big hair, you
Yes.
can do that.
Yes.
Why is your hooker gotta have big hair?
Just
If you
because
want
it's an
it.
accessory. If you
And you
want
can
it.
purchase pimps.
This is ridiculous.
Like,
I
you
love
can
it.
outfit your pimp like
First of all,
elevator shit.
the irony of purchasing the
And the
pimp.
cars.
The irony of that alone is amazing.
You can decide what car your pimp drives.
Yes.
And further, you can decide.
Does he have hydraulics?
You can decide what motel your hooker.
Oh, you can
Goes
upgrade
out of.
all the way up to escorts.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And then by then you
because then you're in the
have to
room.
use river rocks to hit them, like something really nice and polished.
Expensive.
Or
nuggets.
cubic
Gold nuggets.
zirconia or something like better as it goes, right? Polished.
Right.
Do you want to go all Heidi Fleiss and Michael Madsen? Do you want to do that? I mean, you could. The world is your oyster. You can make it as
Okay,
big
how do we
or
create
as
this?
small as you want to. I'll say that.
First of all, this is all patent pending.
Yes, it
For the
is.
SHI Media Network, we own all the rights
That's
and
right.
ideas to
Don't
this.
you people dare steal this idea.
No, hey, look, date and time stamp the show.
Listen, it's on YouTube and it's in Spreaker.
And after you hit and you run away, because you obviously that's what you do after you hit the hooker.
No, you don't laugh. No, you laugh. And then as the cops pull up, then you run away.
Is that the Mr. Beaker sound?
Sort of. We're not getting to a segment, huh? We're not going to cover anything. It's 9:15.
Oh yeah, because I'm the asshole that brought up we should do a game.
Well, I'm just saying it's quarter past.
Hey,
it's brilliant. I didn't say it wasn't brilliant.
It's money. This is a sure thing. It's money in the bank.
It's going to be stolen by tomorrow.
No, it's not.
No, listen, this is archived, okay? It's archived. We have proof of it right here, and a witness.
Shit out of them. And guns. Anyways, well, that was not a threat in any way. Please don't read too much into that. We would never threaten anybody.
I think it was a damn fine idea.
So we call it TROP, throwing rocks at prostitutes. Trap.
No, that's trap.
Trap, throwing rocks at prostitutes.
Ooh, I'm starting to like that.
So trap the game.
Yes.
And now you can also get into that whole like entrapment thing. Like there's some other suggestive. Yeah, I think that works out well. I'm writing it down right now.
I think you hit upon something. Number one, I'm brilliant for coming
with a rock.
With a rock. Hang on, hang on a second.
What?
Don't pretend you just invented the game.
No, he didn't come up with the video game part of this.
You just turned it into a video game.
No, but that's where the money's going to be.
That's called monetizing your idea.
So, yeah, no, he kind of deserves a little bit of credit for that.
Yes.
I'm the monetizing.
Yes, you're the monetizer here. But you know what, BZ? So you're going to be hearing from us because I'm pretty sure when we talked about throwing rocks at hookers, we patent pended it back then. So you should have listened to past episodes. That's not my fault.
Oh, God, this is just ridiculous.
He's just incredulous.
This is supposed to be I love the fact that we've gotten to 1.5 topics in an hour and 15 minutes.
Now, let's see. We talked about Mueller.
He talked about the union. That's one of the things. And that was going to lead into
the Raise Act.
The Raise Act.
And we talked about Rilcum.
Yeah. No, we haven't got to Rilcum yet.
We mentioned his name. That almost counts.
That does almost count. Rilcum.
Oh.
Hero.
Yeah, well, that's in 14 minutes, so get your jackassery out of
17. The Raise Act. BZ, what do you got?
Empty hands. Hey, the Raise Act just came... What? By the way, did you happen to catch the interplay between this Acosta dude from CNN and Steve Miller, who was... Miller, that's right, who was on the podium in the press room. It was gorgeous. If you haven't seen that tete-a-tete back and forth, Miller excoriates the crap out of Acosta, who starts quoting from the Statue of Liberty, "Give me your paw." Here's what Canada did years ago when they started this in the 90s, and no one has said it. If you... have you gone up into like Western Canada recently, to BC or any of those areas?
Yes. Victoria.
Vancouver.
Victoria.
Etc. Okay.
That's west.
All right. Lots of Chinese people. So Canada came up with the law because so many Chinese wanted to come into the country at that particular time. If you were Chinese, you had to bring $10,000 in cash and skills if you wanted to be in Canada.
So hang on a second. Now, I think the Canadian dollar is the loonie. So they would have
the loonie
so you would have
and the toonie.
So the Chinese would have had to brought each 10,000 loons. Is this what you're saying?
Yes, in large 54-foot trailer trucks. That's the only way you can fit all those loons in there.
Yes.
Was this the point of the story?
Wait, Clint, is he trying to say that we got sidetracked?
Yeah, I don't know. Was it 10,000 US dollars or 10,000 loons? This is a very important part here, Sean.
It is.
Thank you.
I grant that. So the GOP today...
Go ahead, BZ, please.
Introduced a bill that was going to reduce, basically, immigration by half.
Yes.
Which is not a bad thing.
No.
Who has the ability to control their borders? Every sovereign state.
You have to. That's how you become a sovereign state.
What's happening?
Not sovereign citizens.
Oh, different.
Different one.
Sorry.
Yeah, those people are usually armed. 2 of them, okay? Left and right.
Yes. But they're not teethed.
No.
Very rarely.
No. If you have 5 of them, you might have a whole set of 32.
They're toothed. but they're not teeth.
Question for the chat room: how many teeth are in the average adult? Is it 32 or 36?
Ooh, I think it's 32.
Who fucking cares?
That's the correct answer.
Fucking cares.
Thank you very much, Clint.
You're welcome.
God, I knew you had it within you, so to speak. So Tom Cotton, Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas,
Why's it gotta be Cotton?
who has the largest neck in Congress. Have you ever noticed Tom Cotton has the biggest neck in the U.S. Senate?
I think they call him Pickin'.
And he served in the military, by the way.
Yes, he did.
with great honor, and
Yes.
he came up with this bill.
Cotton picking senator, is that what you're saying?
Go ahead, BC.
You said it.
And basically what he's saying is that immigration levels need to come down.
Yeah, agreed.
Legal immigration.
Yes.
They're not even addressing, the illegal aspect of it at all.
Because it shouldn't need to be addressed.
And it's like from, hello, Captain Obvious, but they're saying, again, things that are obvious. We should prioritize people who come into this country as, do they bring a skill? Mm-hmm. Do they speak English? Mm-hmm. Are they educated? Mm-hmm. Those folks, how heinous it is to even suggest that they should be prioritized.
Right.
Because that's so terrible to say that.
Well, BZ, first and foremost, you're judging people for their abilities, their skills, and what they could bring to the nation. And there's no room on left for a conversation like
Yeah,
that.
look, how dare you, BZ? The fact that you're so not inclusive right now.
Right.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right.
What about the meth head from Mexico that needs medical treatment? Why isn't he allowed in?
What
First.
about, what about the MS?
Or she, I'm fair,
Make
I'm
it a
fair,
she.
I'm fair, that's
Yeah.
right. My bad. Ladies, I'm sorry.
What about the MS-13 dude from Mexico who has Kucha tattooed backwards on their forehead?
I'm telling
They
you.
need a job too.
I'm telling you right
Right?
now, that guy is going to be working at a Starbucks real soon.
No, I think that guy needs to work at Nordstrom
Yes. Ooh, even better.
In
For
the-
the DNC.
in the shoe department,
For the DNC,
For the DNC.
in the women's shoe.
In the women's shoe department.
what could possibly go wrong?
What
At the
possibly-
DNC.
Absolutely nothing
No, but
can go wrong.
listen, it's so funny how.
But this already hit the wall.
Yeah.
Logic, common sense, proportionality, rationality. Fuck it, out the door, out the window.
No, because what you're dealing with there is something that would actually benefit this country, and that's not allowed. These are the same people who believe in open borders. These are the same people who don't believe in our sovereignty.
So,
Acosta said, "Give me your tired, your poor." The quotation from the Statue of Liberty. What he really means is, give me all your low-wage people, Lindsey Graham, who
Yes.
opposed this, and basically because of South Carolina, essentially said, hey, this is a bad bill because we in South Carolina need all the cheap fucking labor we can get.
Yes.
What do we know when we
didn't
bring
they
in...
have that problem before? I'm just throwing it out there. Didn't they have this problem circa 1863-ish?
No. Come on. Are you trying to tell
We
me
need
that
cheap
you-
labor.
that
Fuck
we-
it. Let's bounce from the union. I'm pretty sure we've been down this road, folks. Where am I wrong?
If only we could trade. That's really
Yeah, the Wayback Machine.
right. Unbelievable. Leave it to South Carolina.
But you import more people who have no
We
skills
tried importing more people with no skills.
or few skills, and what do? You get a low-class division of individuals
do.
who will
Look.
be constantly stepped on by other people and keep wages low for other people that may want to have done those
I was
jobs.
being absurd, but I was making a very good point by being absurd.
I agree.
It is.
Sean, do you think he was making a good point?
No,
I
I
do.
was, and here's my good point.
Okay.
Because
And it was totally
you
absurd.
don't see it yet. It was completely unacceptable, but it was fucking hilarious. Is this? I was talking obviously referencing slavery before with the
Right.
importation of low-skilled workers and
South Carolina.
and South Carolina today needing low-skilled, low-paid workers. But look, here's the thing: if you are creating a class of people or bringing in a class of people that are easily controlled because they're not here legally, or they're low-skilled, not educated, which means you can underpay them and take advantage of them, is not a modern-day slavery?
A
Of course it is.
Permanent underclass with this caveat.
Oh, so I was making a good fucking point. Thank you.
I just asked. I didn't answer the question. I just asked the damn question. Okay. But when you create a permanent underclass,
Jesus.
what's happening in the future? Everything is getting automated, and the jobs that require low skill are going.
And then what do you do with the low-skilled workers?
What do you do with the workers that have no ability, that don't bring anything to the table?
Depends on the government.
Right.
Look,
or
I'm
the
not being a
state,
smartass, but it does
California,
but it depends on the government,
that
right?
wants to secede.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
But no, you're 100% right, Clint. It then falls down onto the government. And
It does, but then which government is in
They
power
become
to
state workers.
control it, right?
Right.
So, look, we've talked about it before on this show, and I think this kind of brings up a good point. It used to be in our country we were heading in the same direction. There was just different ways of getting there.
Yep.
We are headed in diametrically opposed directions now.
Yes.
We have one political branch of the country wants to completely take us one direction, open borders, right, uber left, big government, quasi-communist Marxist society, and another segment of the population that's moving more and more to like where the Freedom Caucus is, and even the libertarian movement that's growing and so forth, and the conservative movement, and how those were kind of seeing a blending, and we kind of saw some of that at Freedom Fest, and we talked about that last week.
Right.
But we are moving in opposite directions, and there have been 2 times in history where our country has needed to move in 2 diametrically opposed positions.
Not needed to, but certain groups of the country tried.
But had to, right? One was when one group wanted to stay with England and the other group didn't. The other was when one group wanted to keep us together as a perpetual union and the other group said, no, we have the right to cast off our government and form a new one in its place, circa Civil War. And we're heading in that direction now. Look, we've said it here before. I don't call for a civil war. I don't want a civil war. We're talking about when Obama was in power, there were states that were talking about seceding. When Trump is in power, there are states that are talking about seceding. And these secessionist movements are gaining momentum. And even within California, there's a movement to create another state.
Out of California.
Certainly.
Out of California.
I say, let them.
So,
That's a great experiment. Let's see if
agree.
leftist ideology really works.
But we know it doesn't, right? We've seen it.
No. Come on. You need to be sent back for regrooving.
Yeah, we'll do it.
You're like a bad Mack truck
We'll do
tire.
it differently. But here's my point. Are we beyond the point of no return?
I say yes.
I say we're pretty damn close. If we're not already over the line, we're walking it. And here's why.
We're definitely walking the line. There's no way. I mean, you look at BAM and you look at, or by any means,
That's exactly what I'm saying.
You look at Antifa and the violence that is in it,
And you look at
everything else.
You look at the, Black Lives Matter. You look at all these splinter groups that are just showing up and causing chaos as much as they can,
Yeah.
because they feel oppressed. Now, I'm not saying they are.
sell that as a means to move their agenda, right?
Right. That's what I'm getting at. And they're not, because they're not utilizing their freedoms the appropriate way to make their lives as good as humanly possible, and they want it given to them. It's not the same style of civil war that we're moving towards, but we're moving towards a successful versus unsuccessful civil war.
Are we, or are we actually moving towards physical violence?
Well, that's what I mean. I'm telling you about, before it had to do with states' rights and remaining in the Union. Now it has to do with the 1% versus the 99%. Really, since Occupy Wall Street, this has not gone away. It's gone
but I think
quiet.
there's so many more issues other than just that.
But they're all
right?
following under the same umbrella, is what I'm getting at.
But what I'm talking about, those are each little microcosms.
Right.
But the main idea is we're going in 2 completely separate.
No, I agree with you. I guess I'm telling you how they're forging these alliances to keep it going in that
Or all these other
direction.
splinter groups that are,
Yeah.
Look, so
There is massive social upheaval coming. I just don't know in what form it will take, but it is coming.
look, is it
shortly.
going to be social upheaval, or is it going to be actual?
I think it's going to be social, and it's going to migrate to
I
violence.
think we've already passed social upheaval.
Yeah, I think
No,
we're.
there is, right. But what I'm talking about with the violence is what kind of violence are we
But we've
That's
already
the
seen
point.
pockets of it.
Are we
I don't
going
know.
to see individual fights amongst groups of citizens,
I-
or are we going to see fights among factions of governments, whether it's states versus feds or factions of feds.
I don't know
whatever
what form it's going to take, but it's coming.
Watch the Reciprocity Act in September. You've already had states losing their ever-loving minds over the fact that this might happen. And there was a former Secret Service guy.
Tell people what the Reciprocity Act is.
So the Reciprocity Act is essentially if you have a CCW in one state, you've been approved, you can carry in all 50 and any island. Guam, Puerto Rico, any other American-owned colony, essentially.
Now people understand why the leftists are going to lose their shit.
Well, because so the Second Amendment tax goes away in a lot of states, right? Because instead of you having to get 15 CCWs, if you travel through 15 states, you only need one. So the Second Amendment tax goes away because that's all a CCW cost is. You're charging me to utilize my right as an American citizen. Now, we can argue about whether or not you should get a CCW or not, and whether or not you have to be approved or not approved. It shouldn't cost me anything.
And that's what I've said federal government has done for way too long.
Yep.
They steal your freedoms and then sell them the fuck back to you.
Look, but those are state governments, right? So here's the thing with the federal government. 2A is a federal issue. 2A is not a state issue.
Of course.
If you look at the 10th Amendment
Of course.
about the powers the state has versus the federal government, 2A is a federal issue.
Yes,
If they want to issue a permit, the federal government should say, boom, yes you can, no you can't. When it's time for renewal, they run you if you've been freaking, committed or
Figure it out.
Certain criteria, violent felon, whatever it is. Then they take it away. Otherwise, it's a federal permit,
and that's
the states don't have any say. The feds are also going after silencers now.
Yes.
Suppressors, because forever suppressors they're evil. They're assassination tool. No, they're not. They save your fucking hearing.
Right.
If anybody's been around firearms for any length of time, I don't care if you were in law enforcement, military, what your hearing
deaf, tinnitus,
your hearing is going away. You suffer hearing loss with the radio in one ear, whatever it is.
Right.
And if you've been involved in a shooting or something like that, had no hearing protection or whatever, you do suffer hearing damage. So there is now the feds want to relax some of the restrictions on. What? Did I miss something?
No, go ahead.
What have you said 3 times now, Sean?
It's okay. He doesn't have his headphones on. How can he hear me?
Is it up against a break?
I was like, break. Hey, we gotta take a break.
Yeah.
Break. And then I did this, and you looked right at me, went like that, and just kept going.
You think I'm a fucking loon?
Hello. I was making a fucking point.
Can you pick it up on the other side, you think?
No.
Okay, go.
Little Kim. Jesus, we take a 30-second. I could have been wrapped up by now.
Okay, now we're 2 minutes past the break.
Go ahead. Fucking break.
No, I want you to finish.
No, I'm not going.
I love you. Seconds radio show. We'll be back after this. And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
You're going to hear
It's
me.
ridiculous.
You're going to hear me
This
say
is
something
ridiculous.
absolutely shocking, but I agree with Clint about what he was last saying. He was making a point that the federal government, you know, what do you have when you have the Second Amendment on the federal government level, and then you have something contravening on the state level? Isn't that essentially what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay. That's where you're going to have the ultimate conflict, and that's where that societal upheaval
Yes.
will come. It will come from the primary fundamental conflict from the federal government and the state governments. I'm going to play a clip tomorrow night on the Berserk Bobcat Saloon about Tucker Carlson interviewing some leftist fucktard about the state of California. And
I wish that was up on the screen underneath that guy as he was talking to Tucker.
Did you see it?
He left his fucktard underneath.
Did you see that
on
interview?
the runner? No, I
What
didn't.
a fucking moron! This guy was so stupid. I've got to play it.
Dude, I wish that was on the runner. That would just once.
Yeah.
Like on Tucker's last
So
day.
incredulous. Talking to this guy. Like he couldn't believe his level of stupidity.
No, and what he said...
And the other guy was just so dialed into it, like this was a reality.
Well,
That's what's scary.
Well, what Carlson said was, are you really serious about this? Or is this a joke? You're on here, my producers set it up, and you're gaming me. And I love it. One of the reasons I love Tucker Carlson is because
There's no bullshit.
when he's speaking to somebody, you know, he's on the left, and whoever's speaking is on the right, and when there's bullshit being spewed, he gives everybody what I call the CPL, which is the canine puzzlement look.
Yes.
And you see a dog do it all the time. And for those that are not on YouTube, you're going to miss this. But on YouTube, if you're watching right now, the canine puzzlement look looks, it's like this. Exactly, Sean. Exactly. It's your dog doing this. And Tucker Carlson gives great CPL.
Or co-hosts.
He does. It's fabulous.
I agree. And you know what's funny is he does the things that
I laugh out
the
loud
things that
when I
Tucker
see that.
does and not says sometimes
Yes.
are 10 times better than when he devours people verbally. It's amazing. Clint,
BZ just said I laugh out loud, and BZ, just so you know, if you want to connect with our younger generation, you have to say I LOL.
duh.
LMAO.
Ooh, laughing my ass
LMFAO.
off. That's a good one. Yeah. ROF. It doesn't matter.
ROFL.
LMMFAO?
Sam, which ones are we missing?
LSMFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
I just like how they have expressive emojis now, like the middle finger. That's my favorite one to send to people. Like that
So-
whiskey.
Wait, we have an emoji movie too, don't we? It just came
Oh,
out.
God. Yes. This is ridiculous.
I refuse.
So
I refuse
ridiculous.
to see it. Little Kim.
Little Kim moving on to North
Launch the
Korea.
whistle.
Hello.
And so did Iran.
Yeah. Well, let's focus on North Korea because
Well, both of them are kind of important.
I'm not saying they're not.
So North Korea launched a missile, and there were some estimates came out that they said it's possible that it looked like Sean's pen, for those of you that were watching the screen. Well, that was one from Iran that looked like Sean's pen.
And he's
North Korea's
a
actually not.
great actor too.
And it, Sean's pen. Huge did.
What?
But there's some people there saying
that was witty.
What?
Not that great. That it could reach as far as Chicago.
Yeah, middle of the country.
Yeah.
So based on the trajectory, the height of the test, so obviously when they're testing these missiles, they're not going length, they're not going left to right across the world, if you will. They go for height.
It's North Korea. Come on, length, really?
Wow!
Really, girth?
Wow!
Yeah, it's just, let's talk real, okay?
Listen,
let's talk-
BZ.
Well, it is the Dong missile, isn't it? It is the Dong
It's
missile.
the Dong missile.
So,
and BZ, it's kind of like the guy in the lifted truck with no mud flaps and the oversized tires.
Right.
No offense to anybody out there. If you are, I'm just saying.
right.
It's like that. Bull on the back.
So,
Chicken.
but the test,
Yeah,
The
what's
missile
the
test-
statement when your truck has balls? What are you trying to say?
I don't know, I don't look at other guys' balls, but
I don't need
that's
to
just
be
you guys, I
it's
guess.
a little bit weird. I don't-
But listen, getting back to Riddle Kim.
Getting back to this, so now in response to this, there was some testing. We obviously had the successful THAAD launch.
Yep. Damn, easy over there.
But easy, BZ.
I'm done with my Diet Pepsi. Okay?
Apparently, forever.
But now Japan is saying, we want nukes as a deterrent.
Yes. Well, let's talk about, first of all, I want to talk about the test before we even get to Japan and nukes for the deterrent. I think that's their way of trying to get us to bomb North Korea. Like, hey, you got to give us nukes or you got to do something. I think that's their way of forcing our hand. But let's talk about the missile.
Japan saying, hey, we want a few aircraft carriers.
But,
and we're
all right,
fail
but
that.
I want to leave Japan for a second. I want to stick with the North Korea and the missile thing. Because here's something.
Do what you want.
Here's something that I think a lot of this country is missing. When we were under the Russian threat, and they were not as aggressive as North Korea is being. I mean, they were aggressive. They were
very aggressive.
But not, let me rephrase that. They weren't as off the hook in the sense that he could wake up one more. Russia had much more strategic gain to not launch as much as they did to launch.
Russia was nuts under Khrushchev.
Yes.
Right.
Once Khrushchev went away, they got a little bit more measured, but it was more covert.
Right.
But Khrushchev was a fucking
lunatic. I'm not saying he wasn't. But look at Kim Jong-un right now, right? The potential is there. But what were we doing in the 60s and the 50s around this country under that threat? What did you do in schools, work, all the other things?
Hide under your desk and cover your head in case the nuke hit.
Duck and cover test, right? Now that we have a potential threat that could hit the middle of this country, why haven't we seen that start to come to surface yet?
Because everybody knows it's bullshit and it isn't going to work anyways.
Potentially.
Well, all those shelters are now other rooms. People had bomb shelters.
Oh, yeah.
There were shelters.
I want one for a bunch of different reasons.
There were shelters all through various cities. There was CD. Remember the little hats with CD? Civil Defense.
Civil Defense. Civil Defense was huge back then. Starting in World War II, it got really big.
We talked about it before. Hawaii, in response to North Korea, is getting their civil defense program back up and running, where they were getting old bunkers cleared out and restocking some of that stuff.
Well, you need it.
We talked about it about a month and a half ago or whatnot. So, but we've talked about North Korea and how dangerous North Korea is, how batshit crazy that wingnut is. But for Japan to want nukes now, I still don't trust Japan.
Well, here's the thing.
I understand that they're our allies now and everything, but why are they our allies? They're our allies because after World War II, we really kind of put them in check, and we've kept them in check.
And now they're starting to get that freedom again.
And we brought them back.
But here's the thing, though. Prior to World War II versus now, they have a lot to lose. They have more to lose now than they had prior to World War II. Now it's all about the ever powerful dollar, right? You think about how much technology comes out of Japan and how money drives that culture in that country.
Earth to Marshall Plan.
Yeah, right, wrong, or indifferent. I understand why you don't trust them, and I agree on some level. There's a lot of countries I don't think India should have nukes.
But here's the deal that I think
the infrastructure is not strong.
I think fundamentally underlining Clint's feeling of that is the fact that historically, after World War II, Japan has said time and again it is a defense force.
Now it's not.
And now they're saying they're willing to give that up.
Well, it's a defense force because that's all they're legally allowed to have.
And philosophically, that's all they wanted.
So now you start getting the question of, can you legally tell a sovereign nation that they can only have defensive?
You can when you kick their ass in a war.
I'm not
after
saying
they tried to take over the world.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
And where's Abe going to go?
You know,
on what side of the argument is he going to fall?
Right. So, right now, Abe himself seems to be a pretty fairly intelligent human being who wants to do the right thing. But what about the next one? You don't know. I mean, you could say. I'm sure they could say the same about our nation, right? Every time we get a new president, you're like, well, this guy's in charge of the nukes now, and he's out of his mind. Our own people are saying that against the current president.
That's true, but here's the difference. I would say yes. You don't tell another sovereign country what they can do, how they can and can't arm themselves, unless you're talking about unless they're doing like overt things that threaten you. It's kind of like here at home. We say, hey, you have individual liberty and freedom. Your freedoms and your natural rights stop when they infringe upon those of somebody else, right? And we're kind of going that way with other countries. Hey, North Korea, yeah, you can defend yourself. Of course, you have that natural right to defend yourself. But once you start developing offensive weapons, and now once you start developing something that you are clearly want to use to take away the rights of another nation, i.e., us, South Korea, whatever it is, or like Iran to wipe Israel off the face of the earth, that's where it stops. So I don't. The difference with Japan is this: they were a defeated country. They were defeated in war, and the fact that we didn't turn that into another island territory of the United States is
That bespeaks volumes about us.
it does, right? And same with Germany. We didn't turn that into another state or territory of the United States.
No, it was Russia that went that direction.
Right. Of course, Russia went that direction. That being said,
They're always rushing in different directions.
that being said, I don't know how I feel about Japan. Look, if North Korea launches a nuke at Japan, do you really think we're not going to take action?
Well, and so that's my point, right? I don't think North Korea. I don't think Japan actually wants to develop their own nukes. I think Japan wants us to deal with North Korea. And listen, as pull the nukes aside, pull history aside. As of right now, it is our job to still defend Japan to a point, right? So wait, give me a second.
Yeah.
So Japan is saying, hey, you guys are supposed to be defending us. We have a minimalized defense force. This is part of the agreement. You have North Korea, who, even though they may or may not be able to hit your mainland, they could certainly drop another one on us. I'm not saying we've been there before, but it hurts a little bit, and we don't want to go through it a third time. So if you could do something, because if not, you're kind of forcing our hand. It's the equivalent of calling the police with the guy who's shooting his gun out the front door at your house, where it's like, hey, I'm not saying he shouldn't have guns, but now he's starting to threaten us, and if you don't do something about it, you're supposed to protect me. I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to do it with my own gun. It's a slippery slope argument.
Do you see what you just did?
Which I agree with that, but you don't necessarily need a nuke to do that.
You don't necessarily need it.
Necessarily.
But you look at historically since nuclear weapons.
Hang on, particularly when that fallout is going to affect China.
Absolutely.
And South Korea. I don't want the U.S. dropping a nuke on North Korea.
But you look at historically now that nuclear weapons are part of regular arsenals in countries, nuclear deterrence has been deemed an acceptable reason. I'm not saying it's right.
Deterrence. But do you and now I'm going down the leftist argument of do you really need a gun? And I get it. But we defeated them in war, and I still don't fucking trust them. So this is the difference, right? We kicked your
let's
ass,
have the emotional argument about it.
Look, no, we kicked your ass. You got to play by our rules. Sorry, you've shown you're still on probation.
You're still on. I'm not saying you're wrong.
You are still on probation.
I'm not.
And somebody on probation for a violent offense loses their Second Amendment rights.
Right.
And hey, Japan, you're still on fucking probation.
But it's almost like the equivalent of the Canadian police showing up here and putting the Canadian court system putting one of us on probation in America.
No, but if we fought a war, if we invaded Canada and they kicked our ass...
Yes! You almost said it! Oh, America's hat, eh?
Right? But if they almost did, then I would expect them to say, hey, yeah, sorry, you attacked us once.
Look, I'm playing devil's advocate in all this, obviously. Right? I'm playing devil's advocate.
But dude, other than Nagasaki and Hiroshima...
those little things,
has anybody ever used a nuke in combat?
Negative.
No. And it's not necessary. We have the mother of all bombs.
It shouldn't be necessary. But the problem is you have some nations out there that have it and will use it because they don't have the mother of all bombs. I'm just saying, put yourself in Japan's shoes for a moment.
No, I do, and I get what you're saying.
Right. That's what I'm getting at there.
Fuck you.
I understand that too. I'm just saying if it was us right now, and technically it is under, right? Because if anything about this rocket is legit, we are now under official nuclear threat to the middle of our nation. It's a big difference. We've heard nothing about this on a national level, which is driving me crazy. Right? Why isn't this the biggest story right now of, hey, we have a fucktard in North Korea with the missile that can hit the middle of our country. What are we going to do about it?
All I'm saying is if Japan wants a nuke, they're a baseball country. Let's give them Nuke Deluge. There's your fucking nuke.
You know what? Maybe they can come over and play an all-star game, and if they win, we'll have the discussion.
Isn't that a French actor, by the way?
Nuke Deluge? No.
Oh, BZ, that's such a...
That's a French.
Hey, we have to vote him off the island.
He's a French Canadian.
Bull Durham.
Bull Durham, BZ.
3 months ago, didn't Japan say that they reserve the right to be offensive?
Yes. So we talked about that
And not
before, and
defensive.
they've actually had some troops embedded.
They signed a piece of paper.
It's a restraining order.
I submit-
The piece of paper stops everything.
Yeah.
I submit there's a predicating act potentially coming that will sort everything out. We know right now China and Russia is not going to get involved in any of this. However, China has said, without any doubt whatsoever, if there is a 7th nuclear test, that they're going to get involved. Up to that, they've said no. Now we're hearing that Little Kim wants to cook off a 7th nuke.
I don't believe China at all.
I don't either, but now that they've said it, I hope Little Kim fucking cooks off the
I don't believe China whatsoever. I think China's posturing. I think China is... Here's the thing that China really hasn't had to deal with lately is actually using some sort of leverage against a rogue nation, right? They've had North Korea under thumb for so long, and that's really the only other country they had a lot of influence over. And now that they're out of control, they're posturing, but they don't have the ability, they don't have the diplomatic ability to realize what they... So they're throwing out these fake things, these bullshit, hoping that he stops, because if he doesn't stop and something happens, it's going to affect them.
Yeah,
But the
and I
point
think
is-
they know something has to be done.
The point is, you'll find out if and when they do cook off that last nuke.
Right.
You're going to find out on which side China falls.
Well-
because they will have to either play a card or not.
I will tell you right now, in my personal belief, that just before that 7th gets cooked off, you're going to see some serious munitions get dropped on North Korea. And I know people say, oh, this is a horrible idea, blah, 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 blah.
I'd let them do the 7th and see what China does.
Do we remember what the congressman, however, said to us? in
I
Freedom
do
Fest?
understand that.
Yes, we do.
I do
The
understand that.
congressman...
What's the difference if we invade or China?
Let's tell the people what the congressman said when you guys interviewed him.
Yeah,
he said every time that North Korea is about to launch a missile,
pick up the phone.
They pick up the phone and they let us know because they don't want us sending shit back to them.
Right.
Because we think it's real.
Yes.
But we also, when he was talking about, hey, if we do any sort of invasion on North Korea, either aerial or otherwise, they have all that arsenal, artillery pointed at Seoul.
So it's done. It's gone.
Right.
The first is don't get in a ground war in Asia.
But you also, what difference does it make if China does it or if Russia does it? They're still going to launch on South Korea because that's their biggest adversary, right? It's the husband saying to the wife, well, if the police come and take me out, I'm taking you with
You
me.
know why China has to do something in North Korea and why I would let them kick off the 7th nuke test? Here's why China has to do something. Because if we do something, you're going to see a unified Korean peninsula, and China does not want that on
that's
the
the
border.
Well, that does bother them.
That is the last thing China wants. So China knows that if we have to go do something, we're going to do it right. We're going to put our people in place. The Korean peninsula is going to be unified again, and you're going to have a democratic nation on your border without an ally there.
Yeah, but you know what, too, though, is if you're China,
And China does not want that.
well,
If China goes in and takes them out,
they may not want it right now, but here's the thing we've seen with China more and more. They've started to get away from this hardcore communism. They're now to this free market communism.
Yes, but they still want to control their own destiny, right? It's still it may be diet communism, but
Right.
it's still communism. So they would much rather, I think,
I like that.
they would much rather
gonna steal that.
You can. They would just credit me or us. They would.
It's all about credit.
They would much rather take Little Kim out
yeah.
Power.
and instill another in his place and control that and still have that buffer.
Yeah, but you know what, though? If you're China, democratic, because look at, they trade with us all the time, right? We're a democratic nation. Yeah, we're not right on their border. We can't
Yeah,
influence
that's
their
the
people.
difference.
We can influence their people, though, right? Because our money influences their people. So we have a very strong influence over the Chinese people.
Yes and no.
In some ways, right? If so, you're the country of China. We owe you a shitload of money. But if you're a business owner in China, we pay you a shitload of money
Look
by
how protected
Amazon and everything
China
else.
is in those bullshit islands.
I understand that.
Right?
I understand that. They're
Yeah,
trying to
they
keep
wanna
that safety gap.
But that's why I think you let him cook off the 7th
Right.
and see what China
But
does.
If you're China and you look at a unified Korea now, all you're looking at is more money to come in and more goods to go out.
I don't think so. Because now if you start doing bullshit like manipulating currency and stuff like that, you lose a major trading partner. And what does North Korea supply to China? Coal. They supply energy to China.
Yeah, so, but if you create...
That's a big deal.
But if you
China needs that.
So all right, so let's throw it over the other way, right? If you're China and you're trying to get an ally in the region, you have a unified Korea that is now modernized, has a good military, and all that other things. The Americans aren't needed there because now you have a unified. Why would you not pick South Korea to start, or Korea to be an ally at that point?
Well, because now you have a democratic nation that is still upset about North Korea, that the Americans had to come in and free.
But are they upset? Because now you have a president saying we don't want a THAAD system.
Yeah, but
you're upset, and you feel that you would be upset, but that doesn't. No, I know.
Finish. So South Korea, they want a unified peninsula.
Of course,
they want it unified under democracy, not under communism.
Right.
If the U.S. is the one that does that, their loyalties are going to go to the U.S. And you look historically at when things like that have happened.
As it should.
And that's how it goes. And China does not want a country on their border that's aligned with the U.S. because if they start manipulating currency or doing those other things, and now we say, okay, fine, we're not going to trade and export coal to you or energy to you, that's a big hit to China.
Look at the status of Taiwan.
Yeah, you're talking about a potential major hit to China, and they lose control in that region.
Or a potential major gain.
But if you take the North and install a regime that is friendlier with South Korea on that border, you still control those resources and can still have that export.
Yeah, but if you have enough influence through trade, you control the country anyways.
But that's not going to be the point, because if the U.S. comes in and says, hey, we unified you, and China is doing this to manipulate, and yeah, we think it's a good idea if you hold back, U.S. is going to hold more influence, not China.
In theory.
Yeah, which is borne out. So, and since we're dealing in theory right now, China has to be looking at those theories for their options.
I agree, they should be.
And that's why I think you let him cook off that seventh test.
Well, we won't stop it, but what we'll see is the direction taken by China and Russia.
Oh no, it will out their true feelings in the region.
Because then you'll know what they're really thinking.
Because they're both going to be scared now. If they cook that seventh nuke, and based on this last missile test, and listen, we could say we aren't scared in this country because, it's a junk missile, it's a junk. They only need one. They only need one to work.
Yeah.
That's the reality
How
of
many
it.
people have been killed by Saturday Night Specials?
Yeah.
Junk pistols.
Junk pistol, but it works, right? And so even if it doesn't hit us, it hits Japan. Or at that point, they don't even give a shit, right? If he goes way off the Wally wagon, and it's just...
Do you really need to be dead on balls accurate to quote Marissa Tomei?
Right? It's the equivalent of a battlefield grenade, right? You just got to be within a couple feet.
Yeah. That was Soviet missile nuclear strategy.
Right.
The Soviet missile nuclear strategy was this. The missiles were inaccurate as fuck. But they had an assload of them, and they didn't care.
Right.
Yep.
If I have 500 rounds in a magazine, I just got to be in the ballpark for a little while. That's it. I just got to be in the ballpark for a little bit. I'll eventually get you. And that's the reality.
Make an argument against high cap mags, Sean.
All it takes is one EMP.
I should have the right to do that. If you're trying to kill me and I'm shooting with the 500-round magazine back at you, yeah, that's my right as naturally to defend myself.
Absolutely.
However,
you only have to be in the ballpark.
Even better. The reality is I want to know why this country isn't flipping out about North Korea with this missile. I want to know why the left is pushing things like Russia collusion when we have a lunatic with a nuclear weapon that can hit the middle of our country, and we're fucking complicit in this country to follow the news of the left to worry about who the New York Times and this person sucked off that person for Russia, blah, 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 blah. That is the misinformation that is tremendous right now.
You know why?
And the left is pushing sanctions against Russia and almost violence against Russia.
Yeah. But North Korea, nothing.
But the North Korean? Nothing.
You asked why the country's asleep. It's not being reported, and it's not being reported on purpose.
Right.
Because the population needs to focus on the Russia probe and not the real problems of the world, because when the real problems come up and people start paying attention
we unify
to stuff,
and we work together.
We unify, we work together, and we start electing people that are going to deal with that problem.
Yep.
And that's not the Democrats.
Look at what happened after 9/11.
Yep.
Modern history.
Yep. That's not.
I always said, you want to get shit actually done around here, and you want to change taxes, what you do is you make every damn American pay quarterlies like businesses, and then you'll see the American sphincter, dry up, and then people will, in fact, lose their shit when they have to cut a check to the federal government every 3 months.
Yearly. I don't care where you're getting your money from. You tax on it and you pay it yearly. And if you don't have it and they hose you, you're going to lose your shit about how you get taxed in this country. Folks, that's it for the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. We will be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 on the East Coast right here. Check out shrmedia.com. Make sure you check out all the great shows we have on the network and potential new shows coming to the network.
Unfair. That is unfair.
What?
Unfair.
What's unfair?
What?
It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
We can't tell you now.
Okay, good.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. Make sure you check out our broadcast partner, High Plains Pundit.
Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
And tomorrow night, the Berserk Bobcat Saloon at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11. And then returning news and commentary with Dan Butcher on Friday nights at the same time, 8 p.m. Pacific, right here on shrmedia.com.
And Sunday.
And Sunday.
Got a big show coming Sunday. Got a big show coming Sunday.
Really big show, really big. We'll see you next week, folks.